Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fun Friday Ideas with me, Susan, your speech language pathologist. Today, we're going to wrap up talking about executive functions by talking about the third and final area of executive functioning. We've already talked about attention, working memory, inhibitory control, and now we're coming into mental flexibility. Most of us think of mental flexibility during those times of routine and structure where our kids have a difficulty whenever there might be a change in the routine. Mental flexibility is how we can adapt to the changes around us. It's how we handle the flow of our daily routine and any curveballs that come along the way. It's also how we understand rules and how sometimes rules have wiggle room or gray area, or rules change depending on what environment you're in. So a lot of times mental flexibility is also called flexible thinking, and it's our ability to adapt and change to the demands around us and the environment and how it's changing around us. Not every single environment has the same rules, and our routine is not going to happen the same way every day. It's our ability to handle that and go with the flow. Beyond just routines and daily structure, though, there's also some other nuances when it comes to flexible thinking and mental flexibility, and that comes when we're learning to read. So there's many words where they might look the same but sound different, look the same and mean different things. There's lots of different flexibility that you have to have when you're learning to read. Also, though, when you're reading to learn, you have to be able to take that information in and use it in an ever-changing way to understand the material that you're trying to read and gain the information you're trying to gain. Oftentimes, we need flexible thinking when it comes to math and knowing which rules to apply when it comes to a word problem, and how to, again, work through those word problems when it comes to math. Mental flexibility is an important skill, not only with our daily routines, but also with our academics in reading and math. So some fun ways to work on mental flexibility. First and foremost, get outside. When you have a child who might be stuck in some rigid thinking, outside is always different. It's never the same. Indoors, you can structure everything where it's always going to be the same. But when you get outside, no matter what day it is, what time of day, morning is different than night, which is different than the afternoon. Things are always going to be different. There is no strict structure outside. So get outside. If you have a child where you don't want to push them too hard with this mental flexibility, but you want to get them used to it, then get them on the swing, get them used to a certain pattern, and then switch it a little bit. Switch the speed, switch the direction, things along that nature. Even these simple sensory shifts are, for some kids, a huge transition, and that might be where you need to start for your child to get them thinking more flexibly and acting more flexibly. Another great outdoor game is going to be playing outdoor kitchen. So when you play outdoor kitchen, first you have to figure out what space you're going to use as your kitchen and what's going to be your pretend stove and your pretend refrigerator, and again, create these things within the environment. See what you can build outside using what you have outside to create a kitchen. And then the best part is to actually make the food in the kitchen, changing up your orders, figuring out what different objects are going to be what. Another fun thing is to take some of your favorite games and change up the rules a little bit. Maybe instead of Connect 4, it's Connect 5 or Connect 6. With chutes and ladders, maybe we're going to switch it around and go up the slides and down the ladders. See how your kids adapt to these different types of changes in their favorite board game. I also like, when it comes to playing games and getting outside, doing something like reverse kickball. So instead of kicking the ball and going one direction around the diamond, now we're going to kick the ball and we're going to go the other direction around the diamond. Have your kids come up with different ways to change their favorite indoor and outdoor games. Another fun thing is to take some common objects and see how many different ideas and different ways you can play with a common object. So here, I have a water bottle. I can drink from the water bottle, or I can make it a trombone. I can make it a bat. Swing. I can stir like it's a spoon. I can roll like it's a rolling pin. I can, oh gosh, what else? I can put it on my head like it's a hat. Get different toys, different objects around the house. Funnels are awesome. Try getting a funnel and see how many different ways your child can play with a funnel. That's flexible thinking right there, because they have to not only look at this object as a funnel or a water bottle, but what else could it be? Maybe a rocket ship. Blast off! All right, when it comes to, again, going back to learning to read and reading to learn, playing around with puns and silly jokes and idioms, those are huge for our mental flexibility to understand that, I'm all ears doesn't mean I'm literally all ears. So go ahead, talk about these silly puns and make some funny jokes, have a comedy hour to really work that mental flexibility when it comes to language as well. Some of those kiddos that like to really get in their routines, one thing that might be fun is to do little changes in their routine. So if they put on the peanut butter and the jelly in one way, maybe put the jelly on first and then the peanut butter and switch it up a little bit. Just little tiny tweaks. And make sure if you're doing this that you're also talking to yourself and having some good self-talk to show how you're regulating and calming yourself through any of these curveballs or changes. Again, think about how challenging some of these things might be for your child. And it's important that you model flexible thinking, but also regulation with any of these changes. So that way they can learn how to do it too. All right, guys, I hope you had a great time learning some wonderful ways to work on some mental flexibility. I hope over the past month you've learned maybe a couple of things about some executive functions and what you can do to improve the executive functioning of your child. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, comments, and maybe some of the stuff that you've learned. All right, guys, until next week, take care. Bye-bye.